Hi everybody. This week caregivers in my groups are asking why women? Why are women always the caregiver? Why do women have to give up their careers and their lives to care for elderly parents, raise children, care for spouses? I know this might feel like a very controversial subject, but seriously, why women? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is pameladwilson.com. On that website, a lot of helpful information for caregivers and aging adults. And in this podcast, there is a video link to a podcast about when work and caregiving collide. A lot of good statistics in that podcast. You can also go to my website and read the podcast. In there are links to some reports about financial situations for women and other situations. So let's talk about why women. Well, I think it's because for a long time women were and still are expected to be that caregiver. Women tend to be more emotional and family focused. Men tend to be more career focused. They feel like they have to be that breadwinner, but at what cost? These are the questions that we should start asking ourselves today. At what cost do women have to give up their lives for caregiving? So, what happens in caregiving is that usually something happens to an elderly parent. All of a sudden, a person in the family, usually a female, becomes that caregiver with little discussion about, is anybody else going to help? What does this look like long term? How long will this last? If I'm a female caregiver, what is this going to do to my health, to my ability to earn income, to my ability to save for retirement? And then we have the career discussion. In couples, whether you are married, not married, living together, whatever the situation is, how often do couples talk about career, and can both of us have a career? Is one of us going to give up a career to be that caregiver? And what does that look like long term? A couple weeks ago I did a radio show about the challenges of living alone when older, because all of us eventually will be alone. Even if we are married, our spouse may die, our partner may die. At some point, we're going to be alone, and what does that look like? And again, going back to how do we plan for that to make sure that when we need care, we will have the care that we need, even if we've provided care for a spouse or another person. In caregiving, I always say that it should be 50-50. And so there's the 50-50 balance between the family of the caregiver. So husband, wife, children are involved. How does that become supportive if your spouse is going to be the caregiver for their elderly parent? How does family support that? And then we've got the 50-50 side on the caregiver, care receiver part. The person who's going to be receiving care, how do they help that caregiver? Do they expect the caregiver to do everything? Do they expect the caregiver to wait on them hand and foot, to give up a career, to give up a life? What are those expectations? All of those relationships, whether within the family or between the caregiver and the care receiver, should be 50-50, should be equal participation, should be equal recognition of what the trade-off is for the caregiver to provide that care, and there should be a lot of consideration for that. So many caregivers in all of my groups are stressed because of the amount of time and the sacrifice that they are putting into caregiving, even though they are willingly doing that. So caregivers are not necessarily complaining about the fact that they have to take care of someone. They want to do it. They just wish that it was a little more equal. Visit my website for more information about caregiving stress, how to balance caregiving. Listen to the podcast that is associated with this video. Join me for my weekly radio shows, and you're welcome to join my caregiving group on Facebook. It's called the Caregiving Trap. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. Have a fabulous day today, and I will see you again soon in another video. And Don, I hope you are doing well there in Michigan. Have a fabulous day today, and thanks for catching the video live. I appreciate it more than you know. Bye-bye.